of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert, that's Stephen Jensen, and shout out as always to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. It is Thursday, September 25th, and there's a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling. We're coming off All Out. We're coming off WrestlePalooza. We've got Crown Jewel in a couple of weeks. Dynamite last night with Fire. The PWI 500 drops. We got plenty to talk about. And Sam Stackhouse is scheduled to join us in about 20 to 30 minutes or so. Sam's supposed to stop by between 7 and 7:15. So we'll talk to Sam about everything that's been going on, including the betrayal by one Fuego del Sol, a.k.a. KJ Orso. Jensen, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about all that. We have a pretty stacked show, pretty Stackhouse show, actually, if I do say so myself. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hope everyone's having a good day. Zach in the chat says that it's National Comic Book Day, which I actually didn't know. That's pretty cool. I never really got into comic books, but I've always really appreciated that comic book culture. Like Mallrats, for instance, is like one of my favorite movies. Like I really always like that kind of like nerdy stuff. It's pretty wild how comic books have become so huge through like the Marvel movies and stuff like nowadays, but like it used to not be cool at all to be in a comic book. So it's kind of wild how that's flipped. Kind of like pro wrestling. It goes in waves of popularity. People think it's lame for a while, then the mainstream, picks it back up. Kind of like the boom we're experiencing right now. So yeah. Outside of that, pretty much just got one plug before we get started here. Last episode of the Weekender podcast on Fightful Select this Sunday, or Sunday or Monday, whenever I upload it. So appreciate anyone who has enjoyed that show over the last 7 years, and I hope you all check out that last episode over there on Select. I've always appreciated y'all, and I've always really enjoyed doing that show, and we're going to continue to talk about pro wrestling and the indie scene, here, and all that good stuff. So, and then the Vikings, Vikings 2-1 now. Pretty happy about it. Carson Wentz looked really good. Not ready to have that conversation quite yet about does he replace JJ McCarthy? But if we keep winning and Wentz is the guy, I'm not opposed to Wentz staying in there longer. So we got to see how this plays out. But whatever helps my Vikings win some football. So that's everything I've got before we get into all the wrestling talk today. Anything new going on with you, Jeremy?
No, you've already jumped off the JJ McCarthy bandwagon.
No,
because of Carson Wentz.
No. I haven't jumped off the bandwagon, but it's a situation where we have a really good team. Like everything is in place, and if we have it, it depends completely on how Carson Wentz plays over the next 2 weeks. They're playing in Ireland on this upcoming Sunday. It's the morning game, and then the next week I think they're in London or something. They go to another country outside of the U.S. back-to-back weeks. It's the first time any team's ever done that. And JJ, it sounds like JJ is not going to play either of those weeks. They put him on injured reserve. But it's all just going to come down to how Wentz plays. If he's playing really well and we're winning games, because it's not fair to the rest of the team, to the veterans especially, like Harrison Smith and Adam Thielen, and the superstars like Justin Jefferson, guys like Christian Darrisaw who are back out in the field. It isn't fair to those guys. If we just say we're on a roll, we're winning, we have a really good shot at the playoffs, blah blah blah, and then we're just let's just roll the dice right back on the unproven rookie. I wouldn't really want to do that probably, because the thing is JJ McCarthy's still only 22 years old. It becomes way more of a conversation towards the end of the year, similar with Sam Darnold last year, where I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. I think if Wentz has a bad game, I hope he doesn't, obviously, but if he plays bad this week or next week, they'll definitely go right back to McCarthy. But if he's playing great, it's definitely going to be a conversation that they have.
I wish your Vikings luck. I know they beat up on the Bengals this past week. So
yeah.
Hopefully we'll see how they continue to do. It's tough to predict the NFL in 3 weeks because there were a lot of upsets this past week. So
yeah, a lot of injuries, and there's no excuses across the board because like every team deals with these injuries. Even last week, the Vikings and Bengals, neither of us had our starting quarterbacks. Obviously, Joe Burrow is like way more valuable, to be missing. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's probably enough NFL talk for everybody. We can talk some pro wrestling.
All right, let's get into it.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes is official for Crown Jewel. Cody Rhodes defeated Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza. Seth Rollins lost, but it doesn't matter because he is still the World Heavyweight Champion, and it is champion versus champion for that gaudy looking Crown Jewel Championship and that ring that Cody references once a year. I know you're excited about this, Jensen. I assume you think Cody's going to win.
Well, last year, I was like the only person who thought Cody was going to be Gunther. I remember that. Even to the point where like you played a bunch of mental gymnastics on me and even had me eventually like side with you that it made more sense to have Gunther beat Cody. But obviously I'm never going against Cody. What makes it really difficult when it comes to Rollins, similar to Gunther, because Gunther was built so strong, obviously, with the way he was booked and only lost. I mean, even to this day, like rarely ever loses. But Rollins has lost all 3 of his matches to Cody. I don't know how legitimate it was, but I think those guys wrestled a bunch, like not on television as well. And it was probably a fake thing that I read. So like, this was probably just some troll or something, but I think I saw something that like Cody has beaten Seth Rollins like 20 times total. He's like 20-0 against him since he's been back in the WWE between like what's been televised and what hasn't. Now that's probably an inflated number, but the point is Seth Rollins has not beat Cody Rhodes one-on-one. They also,
I believe it because if they were just doing house show matches, Cody was probably going over on all those house shows.
No, I believe it too. It just seems like a lot, right? Like, but I think that they during their back and forth on Raw when they were on the mics, they were talking about WrestleMania 40. Cody brought that up. Seth was wearing their watch. Cody brought up him helping him finish the story. They didn't really talk much about the tag team match they had the night before, but like these guys have a lot of history with one another that really stems back even farther, like before Cody left WWE originally, because Seth had like just gotten there probably around then, one of Dusty's guys in NXT, Dusty's kids in NXT. But my point is that like you really don't want to see Seth lose again to Cody if you're a Seth Rollins fan, or if you're Seth, or if you want the World Championship to look on the same level as the WWE Championship, which I don't view it the same. I don't think most of the fan base views it the same. Last year, Cody won as the WWE Champion over the World Champion. If they did it again this year, it just kind of like cements that even farther that like, one is better than the other. Which as a Cody fan, I don't have a problem with, obviously. But if you want it to be more balanced in the eyes of the viewers, you would probably want the world champion to seem at least a bit more on the same level. And also not be 4-0 or 0-4 if you're Seth at that point at Crown Jewel. So, I mean, my official prediction is obviously going to be Cody when it comes down to it. Like, I'm not going to pick against. There's literally nobody I'm going to pick to beat Cody in any scenario. I'm that big of a mark. Just is what it is. But what do you like? I think like Seth has a way more to gain by winning than Cody does. I'll put it that way.
It's 22-0 for Cody.
22. I was right. Yeah, it was like 20 something. Yeah, that's crazy.
Dark matches and everything. And this goes back to they wrestled each other twice before Cody left WWE. So it's
Cody beat him twice then?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been during the Cody and the Rhodes versus Shield stuff. I forgot about that for a second because they wrestled each other then as well. Like
it's 20-0 since returning, including the 3 televised matches.
That's wild. But I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. Like if Cody wasn't in the WWE right now, my 2 guys are McIntyre and Rollins. So like once again, this is like pretty much anyone else. I'd be going for Seth. but it's Cody. So, look behind me. Who do you think I'm going with?
Like last year, I think there's just more to do with Seth. If
Sure.
Cody wins, it's just okay. LOL, Cody wins. Like, great.
I thought LOL.
Because it's very Cena-ish. He just wins these matches. I didn't think the McIntyre match was all that good. On top of, I thought Drew should have probably won. But I didn't think it was a great match. I'm sure the Seth match will be very good. They have very good chemistry, so I expect that to be good. I think you'll get interference. You'll probably get the Brawns interfering because it's probably going to set up War Games, and Cody will be part of the War Games team for Team All-Star, essentially, is what I'm expecting for the War Games team. But to set that up further, it does feel like Seth needs to win this one. Because if Cody wins, how are you further setting up the All-Star team? Like, you need to lift up the division. They've already lost. Becky and Seth lost this past Saturday, so that's a mark against Seth. I know the Brawns won, which is good. I think they'll continue to win, but you kind of need Seth to beat Cody to really establish them as, hey, this is the group that you got to worry about. This is the dominant group in WWE. If Cody wins, it's just, oh, well, their top guy can't beat the other top guy on the other show. So how great is he?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with all of that. Do you think that Brock is going to be on the Vision side? Like, do you think that's why him and Heyman are like, so when you say all stars, like for the baby faces, like who is included in that? Who are the 5 outside, or the 4 outside of Cody, I guess?
So right now the Vision team would be Brock, Seth, right, Braun, and Braun. Like, I'm looking at 4.
Oh, so 4 on 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think Jey Uso's like turning or anything, but they're teasing stuff with him. But right now, I'm kind of looking at 4. And then the All-Star team is Cody, Punk, Roman, and Cena.
Ooh, that team's awesome. You gotta have, like, the babyfaces got to win that one too. Either way, the Vision come out.
Win that, like, it's a little bit more palpable. Although, I'm okay if someone takes the loss on the babyface side there to help establish Braun or Bronson, or again just Seth. I don't need Brock winning again. We know Brock's going to win.
Yeah, we didn't have to talk about that Brock and Cena match at all. That was like a nothing burger.
Yeah, it sucked.
I don't disagree. Like, we pretty much saw that like 10 years ago, and like it makes no sense to do that now. And I really don't want to see any sort of like Cena redemption of him having to like beat Brock before he leaves or something, because like I feel like we've seen that already once again a decade ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally for the Vision, like getting like continue getting a strong push. Like, I like the group. I think it'd be an interesting dynamic for Brock to be involved in that, especially if he like was targeting Cody's championship and not Seth's, and like but I don't necessarily want to see Lesnar and Cody again. Like, we saw that again, or so we saw that like 2 years ago before Brock left, and Cena and Cody beat him 2-1 in their series before Brock went away. Brock even like held his arm up and like gave him the endorsement and everything. So I don't really need to see that again. Yeah, I guess
Brock in any of the title picture. Like, I
know, but I'm just thinking, like, he comes back and he destroys John Cena, right? So it's like, are they going to put him in the title picture, or can they just, like, what I'd prefer is if he was just more of like a hitman for Paul Heyman, where like him and Paul keep their relationship going. It's totally a business relationship. Brock's been screwed over by him multiple times in his career at this point, and he knows what it is with Paul. They're on the same page. Like, they know they can't really fully trust each other, but they have a long enough history that they can do business with one another. And Brock's basically like a hired, bodyguard basically for, I mean, not that the division needs it because they have Braun and Braun. Like, those guys are huge. But like, if Brock Lesnar is the kind of like the guy who makes sure, Seth Rollins keeps the title kind of thing, like, I'm not necessarily saying I'm like these ideas. I'm just trying to figure how Brock figures into this, but also doesn't get title shots. You know what I mean?
They've got to explain the Brock and Heyman relationship in some way, because they kind of just glossed over it on Monday, despite the fact that Heyman was in the corner of Brock at WrestlePalooza, and then he was just back with the Vision, and nobody really questioned, like, hey, what's going on with this Brock stuff? So they need to do some type of connective tissue there, because you would think Seth would be like, what's happening? Why are you with this guy? Unless Seth is behind it all, and Brock is the person who helps Seth at Crown Jewel to defeat Cody, which I wouldn't fully rule that out.
I wouldn't rule that out at all. That could very well be the front runner for what happens. Those rings are cool, though. That'd be cool if Cody had another ring. He said he has 9 more digits, and I think that'd be cool if he filled everyone up for the next 9 years with those rings. That'd be tight.
I don't need all that, but sure.
Just keep it going, Cody. Just keep winning. But I get it though. Like Rollins, once again, like I said, he has way more to gain by winning than Cody does. Brock costing Cody and helping Seth is probably the thing that makes the most sense at this point to me, honestly.
Yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. We'll see if they do it, or if they have another idea with things. The Brock returning and then just beating Cena just kind of didn't do a whole lot for anybody, and I don't know what they're doing with Brock coming out of that. So We'll find out. We'll find out if that's what they end up going with. And speaking of John Cena, he will be facing AJ Styles at Crown Jewel in a match that they set up on social media, because that's what the fans wanted. And yeah, that's that. John Cena gets his ass beat by Brock Lesnar, and then is just like, I want to face AJ Styles. And Triple H is like, all right, give me the credit for booking you and AJ Styles, even though we haven't done anything to set this up.
Yeah, I actually, today, during my breaks from work at the shoot job, I was I was searching for what I had missed, and maybe I did, but there wasn't anything in ring with AJ and Cena about this, right? It's all just been fueled by fan conversation and social media posts and stuff like that, right? This is not I didn't miss an interaction on TV where they announced this. They just on social media yesterday or today, it was just this match is happening at Crown Jewel. It's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad the match is happening for both of their sakes, because I'm a fan of both those guys. And I saw today that AJ did an interview. You give credit where it's due, Jeremy. I'm sure you know where it was from. Who was AJ talking to?
I assume you're talking about the Tokyo Sports interview?
Yes, thank you. Okay. I just want to give people credit, because we like to get credit for the transcriptions and stuff like that. So from that outlet, AJ was talking about how 2026 is going to be it for him. Now, he's been saying that kind of for a while. I feel like it's been a long time that he's been kind of year to year, or at least saying this is my last contract kind of stuff. But if he feels like he's going to be losing a step, physically, and because that was the gist of what I read. I just kind of browsed it, but it looked pretty much essentially he doesn't want to get more injuries, and he's getting up there in age, and he works a really physical style, and it makes sense for him to want to retire before he's a shell of himself, and that is totally respectable. As a matter of fact, I wish it happened more often in pro wrestling and other sports, to be honest. But this is something that the fans wanted. Obviously, we want AJ Styles and John Cena to have one more match with one another. They both want it, so I'm glad that it's happening. But I do think it's funny, and I get the kind of the online conversation I'm sure that's going on of people I haven't seen much of it because I just haven't been paying attention, but I would imagine that people don't I would imagine WWE is taking some sort of credit for making all of this happen, when in reality it really had nothing to do with it.
Well, they may have had something to do with it. It depends on the reporting that you believe, in that this was always the plan, and they were always going to do Cena and AJ. And even though Cena said, I'm probably not going to face AJ, and that's why I did the Styles Clash, it seemed like this potentially could have always been the plan. And then they did the online stuff. Now, again, if you want to believe that's fine. That may be the case. Regardless, they want to take credit for it when they could have just done good stuff on television and not had Brock beat up Cena and then AJ Styles being stuff with Los Americanos and Dragon Lee. They could have actually built this match that people wanted. All right, we do have a guest. If he's ready, he can give me a thumbs up. We can pop him on here. All right. He's been on our show before. He's coming off a big victory over KJ Orso in a cage match at GCW Homecoming. He is Sam Stackhouse. Sam, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. We appreciate you joining us here tonight.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, man.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jensen.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, man, I'm glad that you were able to join us. I know you obviously had some big stuff going on recently. A lot has happened since we talked to you last. Last time we talked to you, actually, you and Fuego del Sol were on good terms, and you were telling stories about how you came up in the business together and how much you loved one another. And a lot has changed since then. Obviously, I would assume the question Jeremy was about to ask is what I wanted to ask as well. Like, how are you feeling coming off of the cage match at Homecoming?
Sore. But no, I feel good. I mean, people were wondering if we were going to be able to top the I Quit match, and I myself was wondering that. But I mean, I think we delivered. We've taken every opportunity we've gotten and ran with it, and I'll kick his ass any day. I'm gonna do it again on Sunday. We got a last man standing match in Waco, Texas on Sunday, so I'm gonna do it again this weekend.
This is really becoming like a fight forever type feud. Very reminiscent in a lot of ways of like Steen Generico, which I mean as a compliment, obviously. Some parallels there with the mask and everything too. Do you get any inspiration from that feud? Like when you kind of look at the parallels with like you putting the mask on KJ before you hit him with that chair, kind of reminded me of that and really like brought me back to like my roots is like when I got into like independent wrestling. I just thought it was really cool how that kind of played out.
Oh yeah, I literally watched their entire feud. So I've watched it many times, not just in like preparations for this or anything like that. But I mean, that's been huge for me because I had a feud here in Oklahoma that was one of the best feuds with another one of he was my best man at my wedding, and like we did a bunch of stuff too here when he turned on me. So it's like it's just cool to be able to tell a story on a place that usually don't get to tell a lot of stories. Usually it's just about whoever can do the most flips and stuff like that. So it's cool to be able to get to show what I've been working on for 16 years. And then KJ's the same way. He can do all of it. He's insane, but we're not gonna put him over today because he's still an ass. So
the decision to get your family and your partner involved with the I Quit match, and that led to the I Quit, and then KJ was still an asshole with everything. But like, kind of what goes into talking to her and being like, hey, you good doing this?
Well, I kind of just told. I mean, like, well, the whole you have to understand. I like she was a wrestler when I met her. Like she's my manager. She's had matches. We've tagged together before, so it wasn't her first time in a ring or anything like that. But I mean, she was stoked to be involved too, because I mean, her we've all had dreams of being on television and stuff, and we got to go all the way to Atlantic City together. She hadn't been on an airplane since she was 16. She'd never seen the ocean, so we got to go do all that, and it's all because of wrestling. So it didn't take much convincing.
Yeah, she ate that. What's KJ calling it now? The Blake Christian style, like double.
Was it character assassination?
Character assassination. Yeah. She. Oh, hello there. You've done fantastic, by the way, and I'm glad that you're okay after KJ stomped your head. Like that was brutal. But that whole match was brutal. The finish of that match was brutal. You having to quit. You didn't want to quit. The reason you quit was because of her. That was just to save her. And then KJ still did what he did, which of course led to the match we're going to talk a little bit more about shortly in the cage. But like, okay, I just have to ask. We've asked people in the deathmatch scene plenty of times over the years, but like gusset plates really fascinate me. Okay. What is going through your head when, and I know you've known KJ for a long time. I get it. But like, what's going through your head when you're you're strapped or handcuffed to the ropes, and you cannot. I mean, you're completely defenseless. Shoot defenseless, and you have gusset plates going in and out of your chest, then put into your forehead, and then I mean, he's not just like I mean, it's a gusset plate, but like some people, you know, they push him in there. He is literally punching you repeatedly in the head. I mean, that was one of the most brutal attacks I've ever witnessed. What is like going through your mind as this is happening to you?
I've always talked about this. There's like a weird thing when it comes to wrestling. Like my buddy, CTV, he talks about the wrestling demon takes over, because it doesn't make any sense, because I don't think about it when it's happening. There's been plenty of stuff I've done. Only I thought about how dangerous it was or anything after I went back and watched the clip, and I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, boys? And that was kind of the same thing. Cause I can't tell you what I was thinking at the time. I imagine I was thinking this sucks ass, but but I was also thinking I'd probably look pretty badass on the TV right now. So it's you have to be a weird person to be a wrestler in the first place, because we literally beat the crap out of ourselves for other people's enjoyment, but we enjoyed that too. It's a weird thing. So listen, I can't tell you exactly what I was thinking, but it was probably something along the lines of, why did I agree to this?
Okay, because you know, we don't need to pull the curtain back too much. I don't know how much you want to like expose about how this always gets like put together, but like for instance, like anyone who wrestles Atticus Cogar, I'm like every one of his opponents basically is getting those skewers to the head. I mean, like it's gonna happen.
To be fair, I would like, I've taken the skewers from Atticus and I took it from Masada, and I would allow Atticus to do that every day of the week, because Masada, it was like human torture when he did it. So
really,
Atticus is at least a professional.
What's
but
the
I don't know. I don't know what the difference was. It was just one of them was easy and the other one was not easy. Because I mean, Atticus put him in my hands. I got the scars still from my hands when he put him in there, and he put him and I took the chair shot with him. Like the Cogar brothers are, I mean, they're psychos, but they're fantastic. I can't put them over enough. They're fantastic. But no, I mean, it is kind of a weird thing to like build up something like that where someone knows that they're gonna have to do that. And I guess they don't have to do it, but kind of a bitch if you don't. So
Was that the bloodiest you've been in a match? The I Quit
probably
match?
Probably.
Like, your whole body is covered in blood.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, not just your face like that. That's legitimately like I Quit matches can be hit and miss, because it's, you know, you got to put a mic into someone's face, be like, do you quit? And you scream no and everything. And sometimes you're setting up so much, and how do you actually do the I Quit of everything? But like that legitimately one of the best I Quit matches I've ever seen. And like we were talking about earlier, like you don't see a ton of stories on the independent scene for one reason or another. But you and KJ, what you guys have been able to accomplish really since the beginning of your careers, going back with your friendship and everything, but really since spring break when everything started with the turn, like it's been outstanding to see. I just want to compliment both of you on, not him, he's an asshole, but compliment you on just what you guys have been able to do since really April with everything.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's been incredible for like people watching, like people that I never thought would watch the matches come up to me and telling me how great they are and stuff. I mean, I had text messages me like on my phone when we got back from the I Quit match, so people were paying attention, and the same with the cage match. But just to be able to get these opportunities in these spots, because I mean, we have we're having singles matches on the #1 independent promotion in the world, so like that's a very coveted spot, and to have a storyline is even more coveted spot, because those are Effie spots, and like, you know, those are the main guy spots. And me and Fuego both started out as scramble guys, just lucky to get an opportunity, you know. So to be able to do that at what they're trying to build is one of the second biggest show of the year, the Homecoming in LA. So just to be able to do that there, it was it's been pretty dope. It's been pretty dope, and I appreciate all the kind words, all the cool reviews online and stuff. I've been seeing all of it, and like I said, for a small dude, a big dude from a small town in Oklahoma, it's a pretty big deal. It's been pretty awesome.
I really liked how things came. I know you said like you're going to continue to fight one another, but like I like how things with this story kind of came full circle with the finish of the cage match, because it's the roles had reversed, where now KJ is attached to the ropes and he's defenseless, and you know, you have the chair in your hand and you put the mask on his head, whereas in the I Quit match, he had the chair in his hand and you had the skewers in your head. or sorry, the glass that's in your head. But you know, and I really like how you like. I'll let me put it this way. I think there's too many wrestling storylines. This is my opinion as a wrestling fan, where like the baby face winds up kind of looking like a doofus because he just won't pull the trigger. It's like, dude, like you keep losing because you keep making the same stupid mistake. Like you got to just pull the trigger. And I like how like you thought about it. You're a good guy. You didn't want to cross that line, and then you were like, fuck it, all right, and then it was like the chair shot ended it, and then you just walk out of the cage like you had like the damage was done, you proved your point, and you just walked out like things were good. So I thought the finish was really cool, how everything like, you know, went full circle like that.
I appreciate that. That's cool. Like that's the stuff that makes me feel good, because like the moves are cool. I'm big. I can do flips and stuff. That's cool. But like when people notice, because I'll put back court like that's the stuff that the real thought goes into, because the moves are whatever. Like that's just taking, you know, we're just taking the bumps. But like the little things like that we've thought out and put together, and like hopefully people notice and stuff like that, and to hear people notice it is pretty sick. So I appreciate that.
So you've got the last man standing match coming up again. After you get done with KJ, like what's next for you?
I mean, I'm down for whatever. I hope to get, like, it's been since I got hurt last year, and it's been rough getting back on the roads. I've been doing GCW. I've been doing JCW a lot. I joined the Juggalo tours. I'm doing a Mr. Happy character there. It's pretty sick. So I got a big tour with that coming up. So I'm concentrating on that, and then hopefully I'll be back at NWA soon. And then I'm not sure what's next for me at GCW, but I mean, I got hella momentum right now. So hopefully I get to keep my spot and keep getting good matches and keep showing up and taking advantage of every opportunity I get. But I'm just looking forward to more opportunities. That's pretty much what I'm looking for.
I did want to ask you about your experiences thus far in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, because that company is very different than most other wrestling companies in a lot of ways. We had MLJ on the other week, and he had a lot of thoughts on the Juggalos and their fan base and everything. But like, because for instance, like you got to wrestle guys like Cocaine and Luigi Primo, like guys who, like, you know, you may not see many places like outside of JCW. I mean, maybe across the indie scene here and there, but like I feel like JCW is where they're getting a lot more of their momentum and a lot more eyes on them, especially with the crossover with GCW. What are your thoughts on your experiences like being a part of the JCW shows?
I mean, it's been fantastic, and like it's not fair to compare like the normal JCW shows to the Gathering, because the Gathering was a whole separate. That was the craziest 3 or 4 days of my life. That place was that. I don't know how that place is real, and it was insane. But I mean, I've had a great time at JCW. I'm in a group called the Sinclair Monster Corporation, and me and Luigi have crossed. We tagged one time in Texas, and it was me, him, and this guy that's like a detective. So I was like, it was two pigs and a pizza man was what I was saying our tag team was. But he's great, and cocaine's great. I think we did last week. We just got back from the 5-day tour, because I did the 5-day juggler tour last week. Then was home for 2 days, then went and did the cage match. So it was a brutal brutal week. But I think I wrestled him 4 out of the 5 shows. So he's great. But I mean, they take really good care of us backstage. It's not nearly as crazy as it was back in the day. Like I've heard horrible stories about how Juggalo Championship was back in the day, but now, I mean, they have a completely different vibe. Like there's not blood and crazy, and I mean there was fire, you know, but there's not God. It doesn't happen often, you know. Like it's not a crazy, like they're trying to put on a good wrestling product with storylines and promos, and like the venues I've got to wrestle in front of, and I mean collectively. Last week in those 5 days, I played wrestling in front of probably 5,000-6,000 people, maybe even more collectively because I mean, how they set it up is we do the wrestling show, and then like the people who come in early for the concert get there. So there's been 2,000 people in there already to see the wrestling show already, and then they do the concert. So some of the venues we've got to go into are pretty sick. We were at South Padre Island last weekend, and like the ocean was it was less than a football field away from where the ring was at. So like you see our entrance here, and on the entrance you could see the ocean back there. It was so. No, I can't talk about how lucky and great that spot is enough. And Violent J is super cool. He takes really good care of us. He cares a lot about the wrestling. So No,
Very.
it's really cool. It's really cool, and they're putting on. I mean, their shows are well edited. The production team there they're super cool dudes. Like I think I hang out more with the production dudes more than I do anybody else there. But the zombies that are there, the outbreak, you need to look into them because they're if they're not somewhere in a few years, it's an outrage because they're fantastic.
Yeah, they look legit. Also,
Oh
like
yeah,
they're
yeah, but
very,
like I
very
said, they got a
creepy.
lot of good guys there. The production's good too. Like I said, like everything's smooth. They take care of the boys there. Everything like no, I can't say enough good things about it. But I'm really enjoying my time there.
What are your thoughts on using fire in wrestling? Like obviously there's guys like Too Tough Tony, very controlled. Like I love that meteorite punch. I mark out for it every time.
I've taken it a couple times and it was not like he took care of me on that. I'm not sure exactly what happened that night. I don't know if the wrong bottle was grabbed or too much of something was poured, or like just a big mixture of things. I imagine it was really just like one of those Final Destination things where one person did something wrong and then another person did something wrong. And they just comboed and this thing happened, that thing happened. But I mean, I personally am not a huge fan of. I don't want to be caught on fire. I I've always been like things like that always weird me out because like I have too much real estate, so I got a lot of skin. I got a lot of parts that can be set on fire, and like that's why I didn't do glass for so long because like I got a lot of cuttable. Like it just freaked me out. Like I pictured my brain like one of those like World War movies where I like slowly am just bleeding out in the middle of the ring and I like fall to my knees and my guts are. That obviously has not happened yet, but that's what I would. But this it's the same thing with fire. I got too much. I got too much real estate going on. I mean, I guess I got plenty of skin that can cut from places if I need skin, but I mean, like, I just, yeah, no, I'm not personally, I love deathmatch wrestling and mad props to the people who do it, but like I said, I've taken the meteorite a few times and that's fine as long as it's controlled, but I'm not sure about setting something as big as like a door or a table on fire. That's where we get a little crazy.
Yeah, and I think it was also like the timing of what we're talking about happened like not long after the JJ Allin thing at Backyard Wrestling, where he was completely on fire and incredibly lucky that an above ground pool was right next to him for him to jump into. But yeah. But yeah, to your point though, I think that like the JCW events have been fun to watch. I've been watching those lunacy shows on the Psychopathic Records YouTube channel and stuff.
New one out in about 45 minutes, by the way,
There you
too.
go. There you go. Free plug.
Or it's 7 o'clock. I don't know if it's 7 o'clock my time or y'all times when it comes out, but it comes out 7 o'clock tonight at one of our times. You know, so it may have came out 16 minutes ago, or it comes out in 44 minutes. I don't know.
All right, I want to know more about the gathering of the Juggalos, though. You mentioned it, but I want to know your real experience there.
Did you wear face paint?
It was my first time. I didn't wear face paint, but it was my first time there, and like I'd obviously heard stories. I think this was like 25th anniversary, but I mean all the concerts were super cool. Like I had some cool moments. I got to see like one of my favorite groups that I've been a fan of them for like years, and they're like a lower tier group, whatever. But they were there the first day. I got to see them and meet them and stuff, so that was pretty sick. And then, but like yeah, I mean there was just naked people everywhere, which is fine. Like I don't mind like. I don't know how to explain. Like, I find complete nakedness weird. Like, you have to have a necklace on, or like some shoes on, or something. If you're just, it's 5:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. Okay, you've got to have something on, a hat, something. But but I mean, there's stuff happening everywhere. But also about 1,000 times safer than I was anticipating. Because obviously, I mean, I've followed like I've been an ICP fan since I was a kid, but I never like got deep into like the Juggalo thing and like I've never gotten the gathering and stuff like that. But like my brother got me into ICP since I was like probably 13, 14 years old or something like that. But like it's a lot safer than I had anticipated. You know, like it wasn't as like it was crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's like as far as like stuff you're not just gonna see walking around like regular society. You know, like this is clearly just one weekend where everybody just goes insane. So it was cool. But I mean, like the food was good. The food was good. You could tell it was Juggalo WrestleMania because we had like air conditioning tents and like all kinds of stuff. We had like a food truck there to feed us all day. It was pretty sick. But like I said, all the concerts were cool. Everybody's really nice. You know, lots of throwing stuff. But the concerts were cool. But yeah, it was like I said, it was like a whole different planet. Like they had a tent for every mind-altering substance you could ever think of in your like just a tenth of it. There's sheriffs just driving around knowing full well that there's nothing they can do about anything. You know, they're just there to make sure that nobody dies, which nobody did, which is insane. So, but yeah, no, like I said, it's there was I think they said there was like 17,000 people out there.
Jeez.
And luckily they didn't make us camp. That like we got to go to a room every day, but we like I still wasn't leaving the gathering until like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they would still be popping off fireworks all night long. People with their mega horns out all night long, waking everybody up. It was just yeah, it was crazy, but it was awesome. I was super stoked to be there. They did one in Oklahoma a while back, and I hit up the promoter there or the booker there at the time, and they never messaged me back or anything, which they apologized for later, which was pretty sick. But yeah, no, it was like I said, it was crazy, but it was a whole lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
I know you said that the food was good. Could you describe any of the stuff that you got? Because I heard that there's some like unusual cuisine there as well. Like you can get like a bowl full of like all the sides mixed together. And
Yeah,
like,
that's called the Stoner Bowl. I had
that was it. Okay.
Yeah, it was delicious. That was good. I had like a ribeye mushroom sandwich that was good. I had this big ass like chicken on a stick thing that was delicious. And there was one more thing I had. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. It'll probably come to me. It was some other thing on a stick. I can't remember what it was, but I got it with the chicken on the stick, and it was delicious.
Did you drink Faygo or shower yourself in Faygo?
Like I mean, I a little bit of both. I haven't fully committed. I've been to like since I've been doing the tours, I've been to probably 15 or 16 ICP concerts now, and I still have not fully committed to the Faygo shower yet. I have not fully committed to it. It's just the way because it's not even sticky because they use zero sugar Faygo or zero sugar Faygo. They use zero sugar Faygo, so it's not even sticky. It's just still wet and gross, and I have a weird thing about that. So, but I plan on it. I plan on one of these shows. I'm getting right in the middle of it. Because at the end they let everybody get on stage and they like have everybody like all the VIP people that bought the extra tickets get to like spray the Faygo. So one of these days I'm gonna get out there. But some of them people love it. They live for it.
I never realized that they kayfabed the sodas and did the non-sugars.
I imagine that was more of a venue choice. I would imagine. I imagine they started getting in nicer venues, you know. Right. And it's also the big thing that blows my mind about that is like Faygo, the brand has nothing to do with them at all.
I've seen that. It's mind blowing that the ICP like I've seen some of their interviews about that where they just won't even give them like a shout out. They want nothing to do with them. And ICP is like the one pushing the majority of their sales.
I would bet my life that the only reason that Faygo is still a company is because of ICP. There's no way that like if it wasn't for ICP, I wouldn't know what Faygo was. They sell their sodas for 79 cents a piece. They can't be making that much money. But ICP shows up with a literal 18-wheeler full of like 100 or however many pallets you can fit on a double-decker 18-wheeler. That's how many Faygo bottles they start with at the tour. And they use like 2 or 3 pallets every show. And they do a tour every month pretty much. So I mean they're spending $100,000 a month or something probably on sodas.
I mean, maybe the company is just like, you guys are giving us the free publicity anyway. Why are we going to cut you in on what you're already doing for us?
That's fair, I guess. But they could probably make a whole lot more money if they leaned into it. Because then like I guarantee their sales would go up if they leaned into it. But I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Imagine if they... Oh, sorry. You were lagging for a second. Sorry, Jeremy. Go.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, I'm like you. Like, I didn't know Faygo existed. I wouldn't know Faygo existed if it wasn't for ICP. I've actually never heard that they want nothing. I just assumed, like, no. Of course they're in partnership together. This is all ICP talks about. This is all that I know when it comes to what they drink.
I mean, I get it because Faygo, like, their whole public thing is they said they're a family company or whatever. So, and I get the music is a little wild. I get it. But still, for the amount of money that they have made off of them, for them to not have anything at all to do with them is crazy. At least give them a flavor or something something, you know.
If they put any of their branding, if they like made one of their drinks look like clown face paint, they would sell out. Every Juggalo would buy. Literally every Juggalo would buy that.
And like from what I hear, short of like just like the bulk discount, that's like they don't even get like a discount or anything. Yeah. Besides just like the fact that they buy the trailer full, which is insane. But yeah, no. All that to say, it's a fantastic It's on, like, it's definitely coming up. I think that they learned a lot from the thing with GCW, and I think even GCW might have learned some stuff from JCW too. So I think it's on the rise. It's definitely cool.
Yep, and they got War Games coming up soon to probably kind of everything probably culminates there, I'd imagine. But yeah, no, the I can talk about the ICP stuff all day though. Like I've always respected them for what they do, because they've always, I remember back in the 90s, like all those like parent groups would always like try to get all their stuff pulled, like their CDs taken out of the stores and all this stuff. And it was like, these guys aren't on the radio. Like you have to go so out of your way to know about the ICP to begin with. They've always stayed in their own lane, done their own thing. Like they like, and their fans, like their fans are their fans. Like I respect it. And they're lifelong wrestling fans who basically like went from backyard wrestling to becoming musicians and use like pro wrestling gimmicks in their music. Basically, like it's all wrestling based. So like the fact that, Violent J, I don't think Shaggy's as involved with J, but I know Violent J is like always there. And like those guys, the fact that they've put so much back into pro wrestling, and they're allowed to do it whatever way they want to, any style they want to, put on whatever show they want to, for whatever fans they want to. They more than deserve that, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and it's just cool to see them, because it's like a true they did it themselves thing. Because no matter if you like them or you hate the music, whatever it is, when they first signed to a major thing, that's what everybody got. They got their CD canceled or whatever, and like the next month they just released it themselves. And then ever since then they started Psychopathic Records, and they've been on their own thing. So, and they do all their own stuff, and they built the Gathering to like 17,000 people are showing up 25 years after they started it. So yeah, no, it's
Awesome.
it's a cool thing, and like I said, the shows are awesome. They've got some really good wrestlers there. I think Cardona was even on the show last week. So I mean, they're bringing in people. They've got Vampiro is one of the agents, and he's doing a good job with that. I like I said, all the locker. It's one of the best locker rooms I've been in, and it's great because we have to, when we do those tours. We're on the road for 6-7 days at a time or whatever together. So but I mean, like I said, they have all that stuff handled for us. It's pretty sick. It's pretty dope.
Sam, my last one for you. The PWI 500 just came out. You were ranked at 408, and I saw you mention that you finally made the list after not being ranked for 16 years. But how'd you feel about the ranking, and then the motivation for next year?
It was a nice, because I kind of got it spoiled that I was going to be on there, so I knew last weekend I was going to be on, because PWI people were at the show in LA or whatever, and they said I was going to get a pick, but they didn't tell me what number, any of that stuff or anything. So like I kind of knew I was going to be on it, but I didn't know what number, and the number doesn't even matter. Just she told me that was on, like, I was going to be on it. I almost cried anyways, just because and like I know it's like a fake list, doesn't mean anything, blah blah blah, whatever. But like I've applied to be on that hoe for 16 years, and then the 1 year I don't even apply to be on it, I get on it, and it's just so and so like that proves that it wasn't just like, because a lot of people, that's what everybody says, like, oh, you applied to be on there, but this time like they found my stuff, they saw my stuff, and like they've been sending people to take pictures of me and Fuego's stuff. Like we got the like half-page feature when they did the thing about the Dallas show. That was a surprise, because I mean, like I've been reading that magazine since I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I've gone back and read ones from when I was younger than, or from archives, the ones when I was younger than that. So like being in there, I have one from like 2010 or something like that Kevin Owens is on the cover of, just because I was in the results page in the back. So now to have like my whole face and my name and everything in there, it is, I can't, like, I'm not sure I've processed it yet, which I'm pretty sure I said that about things last time I was on here with you, that I hadn't processed things yet, and now there's just keeps adding more stuff that I have not processed yet. It's absolutely incredible to be on there, the recognition and stuff. Like I said, like people like to make up this weird, other big dudes like to make up this weird like competition about being the best big man, and who can, then like I've tried to tell, like, it's not about who can, there's more athletic big men than me. There's dudes that can do cooler flips or whatever than me, but there's not anybody else like me that's getting the recognition like this and putting on good matches and like storylines and stuff like that, and that can still do those flips 15-20 minutes into a cage match where I've already been bleeding and everything else, and still able to do it. That's what. So my friends back home, they always had that for a big guy thing to bug me, but it doesn't bug me anymore. But like I said, I don't even know why I went on this tangent right now. But I just had to get that out. I had to get that out. I'm feeling really excited about the future right now. Like I've never been one to toot my own horn, but I'm feeling you really can't tell me nothing right now. If I'm being honest, I feel pretty good about it. Because I mean, like, I go into these matches so nervous, and like I don't even know about what. Because like I know I got the moves down, like everything's fine. But it's to get this recognition and stuff, and like I said, all the reviews and all the people reaching out and stuff like that, telling me how good the matches were and everything. And also, I said I wasn't going to put him over, but shout out to that other douche. It's not like I'm out there by myself, you know. So, and anybody else I've stepped in the ring with, like this has been incredible. Like we're 16 years in, and I feel like I feel like a kid again. Like I feel like I'm 16 or 17 training for my first day again, and like I'm so excited and enthusiastic for the future, and I can't wait to show the fans some new stuff I've been working on. Just yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be dope.
Well,
Hell yeah. I love the
congratulations.
positivity.
Yes, congratulations on making the PWI. That's very, very cool. And along with that, I hope your rate went up a little bit as well. I know that's a big thing for all y'all every year. Oh, look at what number I am. I'm telling the promoter I'm number 408. So
if I was doing this for the money, I'd have quit a long time ago.
No, I'm just messing around.
That is a fair thing. That is a thing a lot of people do. But it could never be me.
No. Congratulations, man. I know you've been grinding for a very long time. I've been aware of you for a very long time, and I feel like right now you're doing the best work of your career, in my opinion. So congratulations on all success, man.
I really appreciate it, and like I said, I agree. I feel like it took me a long time, but on my post the other day, I think I'm really starting to figure out what I have to offer, and like where my lane is. You know, I'm really starting to figure that out, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
You've been killing it this year, and like I mentioned earlier, your feud with Fuego has been one of the best things, if not the best thing, on the independent scene this year. So just congratulations on everything, all the success. I appreciate the entertainment you have brought myself and Jensen throughout the years, and especially this year. And thank you for joining our show last year, joining our show this year. You're welcome back anytime. We really appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah, sorry we having to do the truck where my kid does animation classes.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm sitting outside. I'm sitting outside her class right now.
The picture is clear. The audio is clear. Everything was perfect. So this is great. Is there anything else that you'd like to plug? Merchandise? Anything else that's coming before you leave?
Yeah, I've got the Sam Stackhouse merch, Big Cartel store. You can get all my stuff on there. That's the best way to support me because I still make all my own merch. So everything that you order off that site goes right to my home computer, and I make it and package it myself. Every order on there gets a handwritten note from me too. So so that's the best way to support. You can find me on any of the social medias. Just keep letting the people know that you want to see me. Anytime you come to a show, come up. Let's chat. Let's talk. Like I love meeting people and everything. So yeah, just keep watching. I promise I'm gonna work 10 times harder than I've worked, and I'm gonna make all this stuff worth it.
Heck yeah, man. I'm going to hit you up in the DMs after we're live because I do want to get some merch. And if there's anything, like if you got like a card or something, I'd love to get signed stuff by people we interview. I have my office full of stuff like from people that we've had over the years. I'd love to be able to add you to my office. So I'm going to hit you up after this too and try to grab some stuff.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Heck yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
See you, Sam. Have a good night.
Appreciate it.
Gotta add me some Sam Stackhouse to the collection. See, I usually try to wait until they have an action figure, but like that process is so long. Like, it takes so long. So yeah, I'm hoping to get something I can put in my office from Sam. That'd be awesome. Really good dude. Killing it right now.
Yeah, he's doing great. And like I was saying, like I'm legitimately his feud with KJ Orso has been amazing this year, and you just don't see a ton of that. Was a good comparison, by the way, Steen and Generico. That was really good, and I'm glad he gave more insight onto that as well. I love his positivity at the end. Yeah, he definitely nothing he needed to apologize for of tooting his own horn and everything. Like, nah, he's been killing it this year. Go out there and say it. So yeah, shout out to Sam Stackhouse. He's a good dude, and I'm glad he was able to join us once again. He's been on the show before. For people who have never seen Sam on the show, he's been on before, but good to catch up. Good to catch up with Sam.
Yes.
Let's go to AEW.
over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
So we're going to kind of combine things here because they sort of combined them last night at the end of the show. Kris Statlander defended the AEW Women's Championship, defeated Mina Shirakawa. After the match, the Death Riders came out. Moxley kind of gave her congratulations. Wheeler Yuta raised her hand. They've been courting her for weeks on end when she's been using the seatbelt pin after, Yuta has said something to her before the matches. Yuta raised her hand, and it looked like, oh no, poor Harley Cameron, who was cowering in the corner, was going to be left for dead by the new Death Riders. But no, Kris Statlander made her decision, hit Wheeler Yuta, took him out with a clothesline, flipped off Jon Moxley, bailed, scooped up Harley Cameron, went up to the crowd, flipped them all off, and then Darby Allin came out with a flamethrower to set up an I Quit match between himself and Jon Moxley. So the Statlander portion of this was your spotlight. The Moxley or the Darby Allin was my spotlight. But again, they kind of combined it in the final 5 to 10 minutes last night. So we're going to combine it here. But what were your thoughts overall on the closing segment from Dynamite last
night? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me and see me? It went out for just a second. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got everything. I heard everything you said, but there was a really small glitch on my end. Sorry. I like the so let me back up. First off, you were right about the Statlander win at the pay-per-view in our predictions. Good call on that. I thought that the finish kind of came out of nowhere in the 4-way, but that was that was the point. And I like that Statlander used the seatbelt, which of course is Wheeler Yuta's move, and there's that's all been playing out in the background. Wheeler trying to basically court her to the Death Riders. So first off, I really, really like it. If they were going to take the title off of Toni Storm, I think Statlander was the right person. So I like that she's the champion. I've talked about it before on this show. I'm a longtime fan of hers. She also was somewhat breaking barriers on the indie scene pre-AEW. She had to have been the first, maybe the only the only woman who was the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion. She was literally at the top of the independent scene pre-AEW, and I've always really liked her work, and she's only getting better. So for AEW to recognize the talent and then also have it tie into the Death Rider story, I just think it's this is an example, in my opinion, of really, really good writing and storytelling by AEW. This is because not only did you put the title on Statlander, which I like, she's doing something with against the top heel group in the company that has a female in Marina, so they can have that match. Obviously, they've already been setting it up, but there's just a lot of meat on the bone there. I feel like Statlander being a total badass and fighting against the Death Riders instead of joining them. Now she could always join them at some point too, if you want to change things up or change course or whatever, things get stale. But I like what they did, because just like you and everybody else, the end of last night, I'm thinking that she's about to beat up Harley Cameron in the ring and join the Death Riders. And I like that they set it up like that and then went the other direction with it. So, and Moxley's, livid over the situation. He's all pissed. And then I saw somebody post a screenshot on social media that had it was a callback. I can't remember how long ago it was, but a while back, Moxley basically telling Statlander to be true to herself. And then that was basically her doing that against him last night. So she took his advice, but it worked against him. So there's a lot of really good long-term storytelling in all of this, in my opinion. And with the Death Riders continuing to gain more members and the ongoing thing with Darby that we'll talk more about, I like that Statlander is now one of the top baby faces fighting the Death Riders. I think it all actually makes a lot of sense how this is played out.
Yeah, the Moxley thing with Statlander was, I don't remember the exact date, but they've been courting her for months. When they won the when she won the 100K, one of those, win money matches. Moxley went into like the Bucks and got the money from them and everything. So yeah, they've been courting her for months at a time, basically around the same time that they started courting Garcia. And everyone thought that obviously Garcia joined, and so people thought that Statlander was going to join as well. And obviously she did not join last night, which I do like that decision. I think she would have been fine in the group, but having her now be kind of the top babyface when it comes to the women is a good choice, because Statlander's been there for a while. She's worked really hard. She's come back from multiple knee injuries as well, at least one, maybe not multiple. I don't want to put multiple on her, but she came back from at least one major knee injury. First woman to hold the TBS title and the women's championship as well. And I love the pairing with Harley Cameron. I think Harley Cameron makes everything she does better. Everything she's involved with, I think she elevates that in some way, because it's a different side of people that they get to see, that Harley gets to bring out of them. So I do love that pairing as well. And people compared last night to Diamond Dallas Page, turning down the NWO, and I can see where they're coming from with that. I don't think the Death Riders is quite NWO level.
No, I know what you mean,
things, but I understand the sentiment on there.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like, I remember when that happened. Whenever DDP, like, it was sure that he was going to join him, and then he like pulled him in for Diamond Cutters. Yeah. I mean, I see that. Yeah, I get them. I get that. But yeah, I will also say, as weird as it is, the Death Riders, I think the whole thing has gotten a lot better recently. Like the actual story with the group. It's just weird how that's the case after Moxley lost the world title. Like, you would have thought that like it would have been a lot better when he was the champion, because like they actually were holding the power in the company, and there was like more reasons to follow Mox and stuff like that. But now it's like he has even more buy-in from more people now without the title. Just kind of strange, but nonetheless, the actual story, I feel like, and also to be fair, like I didn't want Mox to be the champion anymore. It's not even Mox's fault. Like, it was, we talked about it for months because the Death Riders thing just dragged on and on and on. But like him, like the whole Death Riders thing is just way more like palatable. I don't know what the right word is. With him not being the champion and holding that, like, kind of holding that title up during the story. Like, without the title, maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe the story is more interesting now. I don't have to deal with Mox being the world champion, and more members are joining, so like it's continuing to like freshen up, and Statlander's involvement. So I guess maybe it's like a combination of a few things that like are making it better now. But once again, the point is I think the Death Riders story is way better now than it was like, in the middle of Mox's title reign, for instance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think part of that is since he is no longer the champion, and the challengers he's kind of had as the champion, because that was something that dragged it down as well, is the challengers were not always up to par with who he was, with the story they were trying to tell. I mean, the Copeland stuff was a complete mess, but I thought even the four-way stuff at World's End wasn't the best stuff in the world. So that played a role in Moxley's, because once he got past the Copeland stuff, like the Swerve stuff I thought was good, and the Hangman stuff was very good. So I think the challengers had a little bit to play with that when it comes to Moxley's title reign. But so far, it's been since he's lost the title. But now Hangman might be getting back in there, and so I don't know how to quite feel about that, because I don't think we need that. But we'll see how that kind of plays out. At least Moxley won't be taking on Hangman, not yet, because he has the I Quit match against Darby Allin. He beat him in the casket match at All Out, but Darby got the last laugh by setting him on fire backstage. Now we're gonna do an I Quit match at Wrestle Dream.
And I mean, I would imagine Darby has to win that one. And then, like, do you do a trilogy? Probably. And not that you necessarily would need it, depending on what happens at the end of the I Quit match. But it's also like, we said it before in our predictions for All Out, we were like, well, where do you, if this is a series of matches, where do you really go after a coffin match? And then it's like, well, I guess you go to an I Quit match. Well, where do you go for the I Quit match? I don't know, but I'm sure there's an answer to that. Triple steel cage WCW style.
I would love that.
Ready to rumble, anybody?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe that's probably what they're gonna do. Like Darby will win the I Quit match, and then like they'll have some sort of trilogy match at like Revolution or something, and it'll be like some insane stipulation, like something we've never seen before, or like, yeah, like I feel like we'll get like some sort of crazy third match out of that, where like there's a definitive like pin. That's the other thing too. None of these matches include pinfalls or submissions. Like they're all like the coffin was the coffin. Obviously, this is going to be having to say I quit. Like I think at some point you need the visual of like Darby like on top of Mox 1, 2, 3, like just done. So yeah.
What'd you think of the coffin match and then the post match with the Darby setting him on fire?
I mean, I could totally do without all the like ear play we've been getting in these matches, like with like the, you know, and also commentary either needs to be clued in better or like, I don't know what they're looking at. I'm not even blaming commentary necessarily, but like, because it happens in the UFC all the time because of like how they're sitting like below the octagon. But like on camera, Darby clearly bit the earring out of Moxley's ear and spit it out. Like clearly on camera, spit the earring out of his mouth. But the commentary team didn't seem to pick up on that for like a while. They were like, it took like a minute or so, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I think Mox is bleeding. Like I think it's his ear." And it's like, yeah, from Darby chewing his earring out of his ear. Plus, I figured it would be ear for an ear, considering what happened with Mox, like stabbing, what was it, a fork or whatever he used on. I mean, like, so there's been a lot of this, like. I will say, like, I could totally do without it. Like, I don't know, but like, I also know what I'm signing up for when I know that this match is advertised. Like, you know, before the match even happened, and it's not like I needed to announce it, but like, you know, I was watching with some friends, and I was watching with my brother and another friend of mine, and both of them at this point have watched a ton of AEW. So like, when that match happened, all of us were like. We were like basically taking bets on like how bloody is this match going to be? Like, you know, there's going to be blood before you watch it. Just like how far are they about to go with this is like the actual question. And the answer is like, these guys keep going pretty far. Like it's pretty disgusting, but this is also like these two guys like wouldn't have it any other way. Like this is like the pinnacle of their art is like what they're doing to one another, mutilating each other out there. But it's a good story. Darby obviously has to ultimately come out the winner of this feud. Like he has to, you know, maybe he loses the I quit. Well, I can't imagine him saying I quit. Like Darby just climbed Mount Everest. Like I don't think he's quitting in a wrestling match. So like, so yeah, I guess that's a lot of thoughts about all that. But I guess that's a long way of saying that I'd imagine there's going to be a trilogy match. I'd imagine Darby will win, and then Mox will challenge Darby to some like insane trilogy match, where Darby finally just like beats him once and for all. Also, I did people have a problem with the flamethrower? I think I just scrolled Twitter, and I think I saw some people that were like saying this flamethrower was lame. Flamethrowers are cool. Like flamethrowers are really cool. You just can't expect people to do what we were talking to like Stackhouse about a minute ago, or talking to Emil about the other week. Like I don't want to see people engulfed in flames, but. You know, good flamethrower spot, you know, is always pretty cool.
I was worried for the people in front row. I was like, Darby's got to get his finger on the trigger a little off there. He's being kind of heavy right there. I'm worried about those guys more than anything. I thought the flamethrower spot was cool, especially because we literally saw Darby light him on fire on Saturday.
That's
so
right.
It's not like it's out of the realm of possibility that Darby, and he lit Jack Perry on fire as well. Or he got lit on fire by Jack Perry. I can't remember. I know Jack Perry, there's a video of him getting lit on fire. But it's not like Darby he's used the flamethrower before. It's not like this is out of his ordinary for him. Again, we just saw it on Saturday, so I had no problem with him coming out with the flamethrower. Now you've got to kind of introduce it in the match, though, because you've got to introduce fire at least in some aspect of the match. And the flamethrower, because it has been used before, I imagine that is what's going to be introduced in the match, which maybe that's where Moxley is like, never mind, I just don't want to get lit on fire with this flamethrower. I'm good.
I could very well see that being the exact finish where like Darby's got him like handcuffed to the ropes or something so he can't go anywhere, and he's just like threatening to burn him with the but yeah, you're right. I did forget that Mox like burned like the bottom of that like body bag or whatever. But yeah, that I'd imagine this will all come full circle and play into that. And it's also a good way of having Mox lose an I Quit match, to be honest. Like, you know, who in their right mind would allow, if they could prevent themselves from being, although they teased the Mark Briscoe thing with MJF not too long ago. She's lighting him on fire. But yeah, flamethrowers are cool. Storyline's still good. It's just the matches are, it's just going to be a lot more blood. It's going to be a lot of disgusting stuff, but like, it's going to be, the storytelling is good. I would, to be completely honest, this is going to sound crazy for somebody who's reviewed deathmatch wrestling as long as I have. I would like to see just Darby and Mox in just a straight up one-on-one match at some point. Like, I know it's like going backwards and they're not going to do that because of where this feud already is, but like the two of them could have just a really damn good one-on-one match also right now that like, I think I'd enjoy probably just as much as seeing them stab each other in the ears, to be honest. So,
they had the one-on-one match last year, and that's when Moxley beat him and took his title shot, and that was a very good match. So yeah,
100%. Yeah. And that's of course why at some point Darby's got to beat Mox, because that's a full circle from him beating him for the title. Now Danielson's on commentary, and he plays into this story also because Mox used that title shot to beat Danielson for the belt, and that was his retirement. And blah blah. It's all good storytelling. So yeah.
All right, let's go to our other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
TNA has invaded NXT. It happened at the end of the show on Tuesday. Guys like Moose, Macklin, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian, The Inspiration were there. Mance Warner was there. Matt Cardona was there. Cedric Alexander, Zachary Wentz. A lot of TNA wrestlers were there. And then started with Mike Santana getting slapped by Trick Williams, who was facing Obafemi in a title versus title match. And then after Trick slapped Santana, the brawl was on. NXT members rushed out, and then they fought to end the show. What did you make of this invasion, Jensen?
So I watched it. I thought the match, by the way, between Obafemi and Trick Williams was pretty solid. Like, I remember Oba, he had like a couple matches in NXT Level Up, but I was covering that on the Weekender. And I remember even then being like, because he was very green, he's very, very new to the WWE system. I was not familiar with any kind of indie run that he had. So I was just like, first time seeing this dude was at NXT Level Up, but I was like, hey, this guy there might be something to him. Like you see him moving around, you see him, what he looks like. And you're like, if he can like really get this down, like that guy could be a big deal in this company. And like, obviously the WWE feels that way about him because he definitely comes across as like the biggest star on NXT right now, as far as like if they were to bring him to, I don't know what they do with him on Raw or SmackDown. I'm not necessarily saying they should or shouldn't quote unquote call him up anytime soon, but like I could see him getting over on the main roster, but so anyway, I thought the match itself was pretty solid. I still think it's kind of weird that Trick Williams is the TNA champion, but it also gives him like something big to do, because like if Oba is the NXT champion, like Trick's in like really in no man's land if they're not going to call him up to the main roster. So like I get why they're doing everything they're doing with those two guys being the champions. It was cool that it was champion versus champion, but obviously there wasn't actually a winner. But as far as like the actual invasion, I'm not surprised that they did that. It was cool seeing like Matt Cardona, especially. It was cool seeing him back in like the WWE universe, because he's been, for whatever reason, I know we've talked about it before, like whether it has to do with like his own Major Wrestling Figure podcast or like his action figures and all this stuff. There a lot comes with, like, if they were to sign Matt Cardona, a lot has to get figured out with his own businesses that he runs. But he's publicly said so many times that like he wants to be back in the WWE, he wants to do something with WWE. Even in GCW, like when he cuts his promos, like he'll reference WWE. Like just this during Homecoming, he was on the microphone talking about how he was about to beat Shotzi Blackheart worse than Brock Lesnar beat John Cena. You know what I mean? Like, so to see Cardona back in that system to any degree is very cool, and I hope that opens the door for him to like actually come back to the WWE on Raw or SmackDown on like a regular basis, or at least for some sort of run before he's done. So that was the coolest thing to me, honestly, was seeing guys like him or like Cedric Alexander, like people who have history in the WWE, kind of coming back into the company for the NXT and TNA invasion. And I did see something. Is there any truth to them trying to copyright the invasion name for?
Oh yeah, they filed a trademark for that.
Okay,
yes.
So when that makes sense too. Obviously, that's the NXT does a lot of that with like Halloween Havoc and Great American Bash and stuff like that. They've used WCW branded trademark shows in the past, so it. You know, this obviously Invasion was a WWE show, but it was like the WCW versus WWE show. Y'all get my point. But yeah, that's cool. Like I have no problem with it. I like the crossover between the two companies. Like I think it's mutually beneficial, but at the same time, like NXT does definitely come across as like the more important of the two companies in most of the scenarios where you see the crossover. Once again, point being Triple H is the TNA champion. But if they can, hopefully they make this look at least pretty even. And I wouldn't even be upset with like TNA winning the big TNA versus NXT match or something. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, as a fan personally, I'm much more invested in TNA than I am NXT. I covered the TNA pay-per-views for the Fightful main channel after those pay-per-views with Joel and Cresta. So I'm kind of more TNA anyways in this fight. But also, it's a good way to get guys like Mike Santana like in front of a WWE audience, for instance, because like I feel like his future should probably be there at some point and stuff. So like, yeah, I don't really have any problem with them doing this, and I understand why they're doing it, I guess would be my answer.
And we'll see what kind of pay-per-view it leads to and how that plays out, because TNA has been kind of punked for most of this relationship. I thought the brawl on Tuesday was okay. It was a little weird. Like, it was very telegraphed of, all right, they're not going to do a finish in this title versus title match, and then it's going to lead to a big brawl. And then Ricky Saints and Oba was the closing shot anyway, so even that took away a little bit from the chaos and the brawl and making TNA feel important. It's like, yeah, this brawl is happening, but we also have a pay-per-view this Saturday that we want you to watch, and here's our headlining match. Don't worry about this TNA brawl that is happening right now. And TNA also has a show tomorrow that nobody could possibly care about at this point, because there's stuff that is not NXT centric on it, so it's not really getting a ton of publicity or love going into the show tomorrow. I just thought it was a weird, like the way they did it was a little almost half-hearted, of like, all right, you're just gonna close the show with this brawl and then it's gonna be background fodder for what you actually want to promote. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence that like, we're gonna get a ton of good stuff in the weeks leading up to a potential invasion pay-per-view. So we'll see how they decide to play it out. I suspect that NXT will get the up on TNA for a good majority of the weeks as well, and the matches, honestly.
Yeah, you're probably right. TNA got the upper hand last night as far as like the battle at sea. Well, I guess by the end of it, like everyone's just brawling. But you're right. The final shot is Obafemi and Ricky Starks like gazing at the NXT world title. So yeah. I mean, you're probably right. Like, I mean, if they do an invasion show, I'm assuming the premise would be all brand versus brand matches, like one-on-one matches, tag matches, and then there'd be like some big 5-on-5 or something like that, like what we got at the Invasion pay-per-view. The Invasion pay-per-view was the one because they had like the 2 matches that were like WCW versus WWE. Invasion was like the really lame one, the WCW one, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Austin.
That was where he turned, maybe. Because the first one I want to say was like it was like lamer people, and I'm pretty sure WCW won. Then was it like Survivor Series? Eventually, Team WWE won the whole thing in like the big like rematch later.
I think that was Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a long time since that
Team
happened.
WCW was. I think that wasn't Austin on that team, and my memory is very bad.
That was in the second match. It was like Austin was the captain of Team WCW, and The Rock was the captain of Team WWF, and like the one that the WWF won to put the nail in the coffin for WCW. Okay. But the first match was like. It was like the Dudley. Well, the Dudleys were cool, but
it's Booker T, the Dudleys, DDP, and Rhino, and they beat Jericho, Kane, Angle, Austin, and Undertaker.
Okay, and then
Austin,
this doesn't even matter.
Austin turned on WWE. That's
that night.
He turned that. Yeah, that's what I remember from that. So I knew Austin did something to where he was the big catalyst for Team WCW in this.
None of it made any sense because everybody even back then knew that he had like famously left WCW on terrible terms and like even had the ECW run where he just bashed WCW constantly. Then it made no sense for Steve Austin to join Team WCW in that feud. Anyways, we'll see how it goes for this Invasion. I'd imagine NXT will probably come out on top as well. Hope we get some good matches out of it.
Yeah. All right. And the final topic. Cody Rhodes, PWI 500, tops it again. I assume you want to take another victory lap.
Yeah, I mean, just well-deserved. It could only be Cody, you know. I would show you all, not that it really matters. I just don't want to take it off my wall. But I do have the last year's PWI 500 magazine on my wall hanging up because Cody's on the cover of it from winning last year. I will be getting another copy this year to display as well. So congratulations to Cody. Thought that the top 10 was pretty solid this year. I don't know if there was any like glaring omissions. I would imagine Roman Reigns isn't listed because he didn't have enough matches again. So that would be like the one that makes the most sense. Why it's like, where's this guy at? Well, it happened last year too. So Cody Rhodes at 1, obviously no issue with that. Jon Moxley at 2. Storyline wasn't great, but like, I mean, he was the AEW World Champion for the majority of that period. Like, he did have solid matches for the most part, but like, I could see that being somewhat debatable. But once again, he was the champion for most of that time period in the second biggest company in the world. Gunther being number 3, I don't have a problem with that either, really, because once again, with the time period and what he accomplished, the titles he was holding, the stuff he was doing. Hangman Page, I'm never going to have anything against him, has great matches. Now, this would have ended before he became the champion again, right? But even then, that's still...
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really? So this was like right on him winning the title is included in the ranking. Okay. Well, in that case, it makes even more sense for him to be number 4.
Yeah, the evaluation period ended on July 31st, and Allin was July 12th.
Okay, so he just made it in with that. And then rounding up the top 5 was who was number 5? Goto.
Hiroki Goto.
Yeah, and I can't really debate that one way or another. I don't watch enough New Japan, but I know he had a really good year, and he won the championship for ZSJ and stuff. Jey Uso, one of the most over guys in the company. Doesn't have the best matches, but, stays consistently over, won the title at WrestleMania. That obviously counts for a lot. Swerve, Rollins, Ospreay. Who am I missing in there? Mystico, number 9. Ospreay, number 10. I can't, I got no problem with any of those. It's been pretty miraculous seeing Mystico's like bounce back over the last few years after the start and stops over the years for him. So yeah, I I think that the top 10 was pretty solid. Was there anybody that you thought of or that you saw online discourse of like, how did this person not make it? Or like, with this person or that person was like way too high or something?
Zack Sabre Jr. was the one that immediately came to mind when this list came out, and SB3 and I talked a little bit about on Tuesday because that's when the list dropped. Him being not in the top 10 was a little strange because he won the IWGP title twice during this time. He headlined Wrestle Kingdom as well. He won the G1 as well, so it felt like he probably should have been in there in some capacity. And so the fact that he wasn't was a little curious. I think on a kayfabe perspective, he maybe could have even replaced Goto, and I think people would have been okay with that. But then Joe Hendry was ranked higher than Zack Sabre Jr., and that felt like, why is that the case? You can't give it to him on a match perspective at all. Like, that's honestly not even close. So you're basically just putting a lot of stock into his TNA title win and appearing at WrestleMania, because it's not like his run was all that great. Yeah. The win was fine, but he didn't. You're basically just putting too much onto he appeared in the Rumble and WrestleMania, even though his combined total for both of those matches was about 3 minutes. So Joe Hendry being ranked over Zack Sabre Jr. and Zack Sabre Jr. not making the top 10 at all was a little seemed like a little misfire there.
I'm on board with all of that. What I saw, I think Hendry was 12. What was ZSJ? Do you remember?
13.
Oh, so right behind him. But either way, like that doesn't make any sense. Because like you said, you're basically saying holding the TNA championship at all is worth more than multiple NJPW or IWGP world title reigns, plus everything else you just mentioned. Did he also wrestle Danielson within that time period, or was that before?
I think that was before.
But I mean, regardless, you're totally on the money about Joe Hendry. Like, it's not even that I dislike Joe Hendry. They waited way too long to put the title. Like they waited way longer than they needed to put the title on to begin with. He had a really short title reign, and he got murked at WrestleMania. But like, it was cool that he appeared. It was a really cool moment, for him to make that surprise appearance at the show and stuff. But like, I don't think you can. You're basically choosing like a title win pop and a WrestleMania surprise pop over everything ZSJ did, including winning the IWGP Championship twice. That didn't make any sense to me. I just don't know who you would take off. You know what? Honestly, I think you're right about the Goto one, but I might be biased because I don't watch enough New Japan. It's just weird because like I'd be taking number 5 out of the top 10, move them that far down. But I also I don't know who else you can move out of the top 10 outside of Goto. Everyone else had too good of a year, in my opinion. But yeah, I think ZSJ, I feel like he did get snubbed. You made a really good case for that. That makes sense.
Yeah, the rest of the top 500, top 10, it's not my list. I respect that they put a criteria on things. I know the wrestlers, it's been around for a very long time. It means something to the wrestlers for a good majority of them. And so that should be respected and appreciated. Again, I like that they have a criteria. It's not just, hey, I think this person is the best wrestler. I think this person had the best matches. I think this person, well, they're the biggest box office, so that's why they are at the top. There is a set criteria. I think when you don't always follow that criteria, like the case with Zack Sabre Jr., that's when it can become a little bit questionable. But again, they have their criteria. I imagine when it comes to Zack Sabre Jr. and Joe Hendry, influence on the sport is one of their criteria. Joe Hendry influenced the sport more than Zack Sabre Jr. this past year with all his viral moments and having millions of views on social media and everything. Like, that counts for something in their list. So they make an argument that Joe Hendry should be higher than Zack Sabre Jr. Okay. I don't agree, but okay. I see where you were coming from with that. So I like that they have a criteria. It's something that comes out every year. It's, again, respected by a lot of people and by a lot of wrestlers, which is an important thing, because if the wrestlers are putting stock into it, then it gives it more credibility than, if you or I were to make a list and wrestlers are like, well, this is just stupid. It's just, your opinion. It has the legacy of almost, I think it started in 92. So it has the legacy of that long. And again, just having the respect of a lot of wrestlers. So.
Yeah. And I think you're right too about like how it's kind of like I like how there's criteria as well for it and they stick to it. If, for instance, like it seems completely crazy to not have Roman Reigns listed as one of the top 500 wrestlers in the world 2 years in a row. But based on their criteria, he can't be ranked. He hasn't wrestled enough. I respect that they stick to that.
That's why he's number one in my book, because man gets paid the most money, does the least amount of work, gets the biggest pops every single time. That's the best worker to me. Worker. Maybe not wrestler. Best worker to me is Roman Reigns.
It's basically the Kevin Nash playbook. Like, just, like,
it.
Oh, dude, you remember to hear me talking any trash about Kevin Nash. I love Kevin Nash. There was something I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So, like, it's relative to, like in the NFL, they're having, like, a lot of debate right now about, like, the Hall of Fame inductees and stuff, like who should and shouldn't be, like, first ballot and this kind of stuff. And I saw a pretty interesting debate that reminds me of this. Like, would you consider, and there's no right or wrong answer about this, just to prove a point, would you consider Russell Wilson to be a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I've seen this debate. It's like Wilson and Eli.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting way to look at things, and it kind of relates to this because it's like, if you were to ask me, is Russell Wilson a Hall of Fame quarterback? I'd probably say yes, honestly, like without thinking too much about it. But like him compared to a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame, especially first ballot Hall of Famers, I'd be like, the more I think about it, I don't know. But then you bring up like Eli Manning, and you're like, well, is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? Well, yeah, he has to be. He's won 2 Super Bowls. And then you look at their numbers side by side, and you're like, oh, Russell Wilson was like a way better statistical quarterback, won way more games, just has 1 less Super Bowl ring. So, like, if Eli's a Hall of Famer, then he's easily a Hall of Famer also. Then that kind of, like, opens the floodgates, not necessarily in a bad way, but just kind of opens your eyes a little bit more to some of these other guys where you're like, maybe this guy was actually a lot better than we thought he was. Because, like, if this dude was so good, so I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of that because that was fresh in my mind, too, kind of like the debate, kind of comparing people relative to other people's success, which isn't necessarily the healthiest thing to do that, but like it's just an interesting kind of conversation and way to kind of rank things, because that's what they're doing on a PWF 500 list. Obviously, they're literally ranking people from 1 to 500. So when you're looking at this stuff, for instance, it would work the same way in our conversation we just had about Joe Hendry and Zack Sabre Jr. If I look on those 2 names, what they did side by side accomplishments, it's a no brainer that Zack Sabre Jr. had a better year than Joe Hendry did. So like, it would work kind of the opposite way when it comes to that. So anyways, that's all I've got for the PWF 500. Congratulations to Cody for winning again. He totally deserved it. I expected him to win it. And I mean, like in all honesty, like who, like did like, should it have really been anyone else? Like, honestly, come on.
I figured Cody would win it, but I don't think Cody had a much better year last year than he did this year. Last year made sense. This year he held the title. His matches were fine, but he faced, like, the AJ matches were good. The Solo Sikoa matches were not that good. And the Kevin Owens matches were good. But that was his whole reign. It's not like he had a diverse set of opponents during his reign. Like, he faced those 3 people during his reign until the John Cena match. And the John Cena match wasn't good either. And that's got to kind of count for something. That match wasn't very good. Cody got boosted because he's the WWE champion, and WWE is the top company, and they make the most money, and they have the best profits and everything. So Cody's kind of bigger box office when it comes to that. Because Moxley's reign was a little disjointed as well. I think there was an argument for Hangman to really be there and maybe take that top spot. I understand why Cody won. I do. I kind of expected Cody to win, but I almost expected Cody to win because I didn't think there was a strong enough argument for Moxley or even Hangman, but I didn't think Cody had a really strong argument either.
I think the only person you can make an argument for would be Hangman. I'd still go with Cody, but like obviously if they're like, I don't want this to sound like I'm just like anti Joe Hendry. I'm actually not. I think Joe Hendry's actually seems like a really nice guy. I knew about Joe Hendry back when he was like doing like YouTube videos and stuff like years and years ago. Like, I like Joe Hendry. I think it's a success story. I think it's super cool what he's been able to accomplish. And I think he's still going to have bigger things happening for him when he's a part of the WWE full time at some point in probably the near future. So this isn't like an anti-Joe Hendry thing, but like obviously, I mean, like if what we described of like winning the championship for a short amount of time and showing up at WrestleMania and the Rumble, like if that's enough to get you number 12, like Cody is the WWE champion for most of the time period, like he's for sure going to win. So he's the top guy in the top company. So
yeah, like I expected Cody to win, but I didn't think it was fully anything Cody did on there. I thought it was just kind of a imbalanced year for a lot of people. Like I think Ospreay had some of the best matches, but he didn't have really the accomplishments. He lost in the Owen. He didn't win the world title or anything like that. So he didn't quite have the accomplishments that matched his match level with everything. Moxley had the accomplishments, but his match level wasn't quite there. I think Hangman is the guy who had the match level, had the accomplishments, and had like influence and everything else that you wanted on top of being like box office. I mean, Allin was their biggest show, and it was all built on Hangman winning that title and everything. So I think Hangman had the strongest argument with everything. But even that argument, I can see why Cody made it overall.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, I think that if it wasn't Cody, I think Hangman would have made the most sense based on everything you just said. Do you know where CM Punk finished at?
I don't know if he qualified because of matches as well.
How many matches do you have to have?
They lay it out. I don't have it
like
in front of
25 or something. Like
Punk did not wrestle a ton. I'll look it up.
Thanks. This is the last thing we'll do before we sign off. We're gonna.
Okay, he was number 15. He was number 15.
Okay, that
So
I figured he wrestled often enough to be able to qualify. Number 15, that's respectable. I was just curious because like he had good matches, good storylines, obviously big box office, does big merchandise and stuff like that. Like kind of like checks all the boxes for the criteria. I wouldn't have put him ahead of the people in the top 10, but like for Seth Rollins to be, I don't have the list in front of me anymore, but like number 8 or whatever it was, 7 or 8, like I could see CM Punk like being really close. Also, Drew McIntyre, I'd imagine, is probably right around that same number as well, for the same reasons. So those are guys that as much as I'm a CM Punk hater or whatever, like I'll give him his due. Like, I mean, number 15 makes sense. And I wouldn't have even been surprised if he was closer to top 10 because, once again, he's still massively over and he does big business for them. He's involved in big storylines. And the matches he has, like, I can respect that, he even said himself, like, I don't have to be friends with any of these people that I work with. As a matter of fact, like, I don't like a lot of these people. They don't like me, but we're professionals and we can work with one another and trust each other in the ring. And that's exactly what he's doing. Like him and Seth Rollins do not like each other. Him and Drew McIntyre do not like each other. They've had nothing but great matches, that combination of those guys repeatedly. So like, I we didn't even talk about the mixed tag match at the pay-per-view. When we don't have to. But
if you have thoughts on it, go for it.
They're not really like the best thoughts. I just said all this good stuff about CM Punk. We should probably just like end it. I was gonna say the only person with worse strikes than CM Punk is AJ Lee, but that's that was goofy. Like the way that they were doing like this stuff as punches. That's too much, man. Like come on. But outside of that, like the fans are happy for AJ. I get it. I thought the match was like way longer than it needed to be, but
that was my complaint about it. Is it was a little too long.
Yeah, but like, listen, I'm not gonna hate on it completely. Like CM Punk coming out in that jacket, AJ Lee's husband, dude. Okay, we get it. You love your wife. We understand, dude. I hope you love your wife as well, Jeremy. And I know that I got your magnet from your wedding on my fridge. I know that I got your Christmas card around here somewhere. Your whole family. So I would hope that everybody loves their spouse. But I guess good on CM Punk for being very, very loud about that.
I respect wife guy CM Punk. You're not gonna catch.
I bet you do.
CM Punk. Yeah.
Chick magnet, CM Punk.
Yes, that is
Chick
true.
magnet Punk.
Yeah, that's what it stands for. All right,
Yep.
Jason. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it.
Okay.
CM Punk #1 fan. I just I'm just being stupid at the end of the show. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Skull Vikings, they got a game against the Steelers at 9:30 in the morning. I have had speaking of CM Punk, this is the last thing I'll end on. As much as I like jab at the dude about this kind of stuff, me and him are so similar when it comes to like how I deal with people that I work with. It's so funny. I would never fist fight my coworkers, but like I've had to tell people above me to handle things, and if they don't handle it, I'm going to way too often, to the point where like I sound like angry Phil when I have to deal with certain stuff at work. So I can kind of sympathize for him. I'm kind of like curmudgeon, angry old man at work when it comes to certain stuff, and I'm very CM Punk like. So there's that. But yeah, looking forward. Oh, but the reason I was saying that is because I've had a hell of a work week. All these people took vacations and left me with like an insane amount of work this week that I've been dealing with. It just like just like escalations of just stuff that like is so far out of my control that I've had to somehow be the one to deal with. So I'm taking off work on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to having a little mini vacation for myself. So that's all I've got going on. Skull Vikings. What about you, Jeremy?
Usual, Joel and I will be back tomorrow in the weeds. We'll see who pops on, who appears, what we talk about. And then, yeah, it's another busy weekend. TNA, NXT, never stops.
Yeah. Oh, final weekender. And I mentioned at the top of the show, but FightfulSelect.com, tune in. Going to talk about independent professional wrestling. FightfulSelect.com, Weekender Podcast.
All right, folks. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Until then, catch everybody later.